As a teacher, I would tell little ones, I have rocket.
All right. I am so excited about RootsTech. I love RootsTech. I was able to go in person for several years. Then we moved up here and I didn't go for a little while. And then of course we had COVID and we couldn't go in person. And just before COVID, they'd added a London session. So they would have the Salt Lake session and then 6 months later, they'd have the London session. And it was the largest genealogical conference in the world. It still is. When it went virtual, there were a few changes. The classes were shorter classes. And of course, they were online. And so you were able to access them online. And that's kind of where they introduced relatives at RootsTech is during that time frame. And so it's evolved. This is the first year they've gone back to in-person and digital. So it's great because, you know, not everyone can get there. Although it's kind of cool to see when I was there in person, they would say, how many of you are from Australia? And, you know, you'd have people that had come clear from there to attend. And it's one more way that Family Search tries to get information out to people to help them with their research. And if you do attend in person, they have an early bird that's $98. And I think that ended last Friday, and it's now $108 to go to a 3-day genealogy conference, which is unheard of. I mean, I've looked at some other genealogical conferences, and it's between $400 and $600 to attend. And you think travel on top of that. So it really is a great way to help educate people in their research and to get them excited. They try and bring a little bit of camaraderie to the virtual as well as the in-person. In the in-person, they have lots of events and excitements. It's kind of like the difference between watching a basketball game in person and watching a basketball game at home. You know, you have the commercial times at the game where they're doing fun, exciting stuff to kind of entertain you, and you have the food vendors and stuff like that. At home, you know, you get a comfortable chair and you can run to your bathroom. Where in-person game, you're standing in line. But anyway, so there's good to both of them. So RootsTech has a theme this year. It's uniting. That includes innovators, friends, community, traditions, and families, past, present, and future. So when RootsTech began, Roots was the genealogy part, and Tech was how technology can help advance research. Oh, you're fine. How technology can help genealogists. And the idea was to bring family history people together and technology people together so they could ask each other questions and talk about what they wanted to see for the future of family history and the advancements therein. And as a result, the programmers were better able to program things the way the researchers wanted to find the information and vice versa. And then you get fun little products out of it. Like I have this little scanner that it's called a Flip Pal. I bought it, I think, the second year I was there. And it's a scanner like this big, and you pop the top off and scan stuff. And it was because of that ability to see the need and technology deliver the information. So you have a lot of technology people there. They usually have a competition where people come up with ideas and they present them, and it goes before a panel and they decide who wins the competition. And when they win the competition, they win money towards launching their idea. And they also have a huge expo hall at the center. And I'll show you where you can kind of see what's available there. But traditionally, if you are looking to buy something genealogy related, whether it's a program, a DNA test, something like that. RootsTech is a good time to do it because it's usually on sale. They usually have a big sale about RootsTech time. So RootsTech, like I said, is virtual or in person. It's the 2nd through the 4th. There are 352 classes, 40 plus languages. There'll be 4 pieces of virtual content for each class hour. And then in addition, there'll be more in person. There'll be 50 sponsor classes that'll be on demand. So you can look those up and watch those. Classes will range from beginning family search to writing professional reports. If this is something that you want to do professionally, there's a class showing how to write reports. Or if you just want to know how to, if you've done research for someone and you want to give it to them in a clear, concise manner, it shows you how to do that. They talked about localized general sessions that are going to be online in multiple languages, and you'll be able to search them by language or region. I haven't seen anything on the website since that announcement really on how to access that. That might be something that comes up after, where they group them like that, but I have not seen anything called localized general sessions. They will have keynote speakers that will be virtual. They have three keynote speakers. Sean Astin is on Saturday, and let's see, did I close my other one? Yep. So I'll talk about how to get here first. Maybe we'll go over the keynotes when I get here. Sean Astin, Jordan Sparks, and Mira Coy. I'm not sure who that is, but they have a little bio there that we can read about her and get excited. So the keynotes will be virtual. Then there are general sessions that will be every day.
You can't wait. You can't forget about Kirby Hayborn. He's the MC.
Oh, Tammy has a thing for Kirby Hayborn.
I do. Sorry, I just had to input that in.
If you don't know who Kirby Hayborn is, he's an actor, a comedian. He's been in several smaller movies, but he's really funny, and he has a show on BYU TV. What's the name of his show?
Making Good, which I really, really love. You cry every time.
So Making Good, where he goes around and they do different things just to help people. And Tammy would love it if Kirby Hayborn was our keynote at one of our family discovery days. So if you guys happen to know Kirby, just, she
needs to work on that.
Yeah, she needs to work on that.
I'm going to go talk to him at RootsTech.
Okay. And I know Tammy, she will. So Kirby Hayborn is going to be the MC. And so you'll see him at the general sessions. He'll be introducing people and so forth. So one thing to keep in mind is the times are Mountain Standard Time, and we're Pacific. Why can't I say that? I want to add the S in front. Although I think once you sign in, we'll look at it in a minute. Once you sign in, it changes it to whatever your zip code is that you put in. So we'll double check that. But just always look for whether it's saying MST or PST. So the innovator space is kind of what we talked about, the new innovations. It's called the Expo Hall. They have 100 plus people or companies in those booths. They're at the site. They're going to have a central park area where people can meet their relatives and take pictures. And if you know anyone in the Salt Lake area, it's free to visit the Expo Hall. So people can go and do some of the activities outside of the classes, visit the expo hall. And normally at the expo hall, the individual companies will have like small classes. They'll have demonstrations, or they'll have a small class at their booth where someone presents information. So like I said, if you know someone in the Salt Lake area, they can still go over and get a lot of information just from visiting. So there's going to be 200 new classes that are going to be virtual. And there'll be 3 classes that will be live streaming. So there'll be 36 classes available. And let's
available.
yeah, sorry. So 36 live streaming classes. So RootsTech, there's a couple ways you can get there. If you go to family search, you can do family search and then put in connect. And this is going to bring up the relatives around me. And there'll be a link to RootsTech, or you can just type in rootstech.org. So we'll do that from the beginning. So now rootstech.org not only covers this year, but previous years. So when you go to their on-demand, the video library is huge. It doesn't give me a thing of how many, but you can choose what kind of content. I have it set for English, but you can choose a different language. There's 40 different languages you can choose from, including American Sign Language. You can choose by year. So to see the classes for this year, we'll choose 2023. So there's 325 classes available for this year as part of the on-demand. And you can, when you're on RootsTech, you want to sign in. You can see my little face up there. And then say I want to see this one on behind the photo, on how to easily scan. I can click this plus and add it to my playlist. Then when I have time to view them, I can click on the play and it'll show me what's on my playlist, and I can go back and view them. So that's kind of how you can go through and look at the on-demand ones. However, for the conference itself, I think there's a better way. They have an app called RootsTech 2023 that you can download from the App Store. And when you do that, you'll have to create an account. So even though you've registered for the virtual event, or you've registered in person, when you do the app, you want to create an account. And you can use the same username and password that you use for Family Search. But what that does is it's going to remember you. And they have a similar version for the desktop. We're going to go RootsTech 2023, and we're going to the in-person website. So even though we're not going to be there in person, we're going to the in-person website. And you can kind of create a calendar for yourself. So you can go to classes, and it's going to show you all the classes that are available. So they have the 3 rooms that are streaming, but then they have 15 total classrooms that they're doing classes from. So they have, there's 168 classes that are going to be RootsTech only. Did I get that number right? It'll be only at RootsTech. So this is kind of fun if you're deciding, you know, do I want to go next year or something, to see some of the different things that are available. But the ones that we're going to be able to view virtually are all of these live webinar ones. The ones that are going to stream are the ones that are in Ballroom A, Ballroom B, and Hall E or Main Stage. And I might scroll past it.
Hey, Pam, are we to assume that the live webinars will be recorded?
Yes, so the live webinars are going to be recorded and they are actually on YouTube right now. Not for us to view because they're going to be live, but they're scheduled upcoming
Okay.
live webinars. And I'll show you that one in a minute.
Okay, thank
Oops, we're nice, Holly, when I was going to. The only thing you can't do is narrow it by room, but you can go over here and do class type. So you can click on live webinar and it'll show you all the live webinars and when they're scheduled. So 8 a.m. is going to be 7 a.m. our time. So, you know, get the donuts the night before. So you can stay in your pajamas all day and watch RootsTech. And there's like 1, 2, they come out, 2 comes out first, and then there's like 5 of them showing at 9:30. And you know, you don't have to watch them right at that time. You can watch them later, but with the live webinar, I believe you can sign in and give comments. So we could add, let's say I want to do the 10 things a genealogist should do before leaving the library or archives. I can hit plus and it adds it to my planner. If I'm not sure what I want to do for 9:30, I can click on the title and it'll give me a description. Learn about national, state, and local social resources that identify immigrant ancestors' hometown and how to access the records. And it tells me that it's going to be live streaming and I can click to join here. Now it does the same thing on your app. So if you want to watch it from your device, like your iPad or your phone, you can go to the app, go to the class and do join from there, and then it'll come up on your device. And then it tells me who the speaker is. It doesn't look like she has a handout on here, but if there's a handout, there'll be a link to the handout. And you can click on that and it'll open the PDF. And you can print out those handouts ahead of time. Yep. Jenny has an example. Yeah. So you can have those printed out because RootsTech is going to be paperless. So the people attending in person, if they want any handouts, they're going to need to print them out ahead of time. Or again, they can access them on their device. So I'm going to go back to home. So we can go through and decide which ones we want to be in person for. Let's go ahead and click that one for 9:30. We'll do state courts for 1:30, hidden discoveries. And then I can go to my calendar and my schedule, and it shows the ones that I have chosen. So then again, I can click on the name and and start viewing it from there. When it's ready to view, I can click the join here. And my understanding is that you would be able to comment on the live webinars. So ask questions and stuff. So while there's 5 live ones going, I need to decide which one I want to be able to ask questions at and which ones I want to watch later. Okay. So let's go back to the home. And then, you know, you can also, if you have a speaker that you really like, I like Blaine Bettinger. Maybe you have to type in person name. No, he must not be presenting. I know he's on a panel for DNA. Diana Southard. So I start typing in her name, she comes up. I can click on that and see all the classes that she's going to be either part of the panel or she's going to be teaching. So that's another way to help you kind of decide which classes you want to do. So then the schedule is there's going to be an 8 o'clock class. So every day for the 3 days, there's going to be an 8 o'clock class, and they call that the Power Hour class. They said they try to find some pretty exciting topics to kind of wake you up in the morning. And then they'll have a half an hour break between the end of the class and the start of the next class. So you have time to fold laundry or get the new batch of laundry to fold while you're watching it. Anyway, so there'll be a class at 8 a.m., 9:30. Then the general sessions are at 11 o'clock. And
That's all Mountain Standard.
yes, that's all Mountain Standard Time. So set an alarm. Oh, and I was going to check to see, no, because I did in person. Okay. So it thinks it would be in Salt Lake. So 11 o'clock, and then 1:30 is the next class, 3 o'clock, 4:30. And then if you're attending in person, the expo hall is open between 9 and 6. If you have, like I said, if you have people in the Salt Lake area, the Family Search Library has extended their hours for the week from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And they will have 3 golf carts at RootsTech to drive people back and forth. It's only a block really between where it's being held and the library. But they said if you don't want to walk it, they've got a little golf cart that can run people back and forth. Let's see. There are some that are being held just at the Family Search Center. They're going to be smaller classes, so you have to reserve a seat there. Those ones I don't think are being broadcast. But you will see them on the class list, and it'll say Family Search Center. Let's see. So then they always do a Family Discovery Day on Saturday, where they have free events and activities. At 1:30, they'll do some Family Discovery Day sessions and a couple classes, and those are usually recorded and put on. The individual consultations they talked about, which you can access now by going to Family Search. And then if you go to, I believe, Contact Us, you can set up an individual consultation with someone at the Family Search Center in Salt Lake. And I think are they 20-minute sessions, Tammy? Oh, she might. Anyway, I believe they're 20-minute sessions.
I would assume that they would continue that, but I haven't seen anything different on it.
Well, yeah, it was just something that they were talking about in the videos.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they will have those there at the place, but you can still do it virtually by going to familysearch.org and setting up an appointment.
Yeah, Travis did it in 2020, and they are strict at 20 minutes. So, I mean, they have a timer because there's so many people that, because we went, RootsTech was the end of February. No, it was the beginning of March. And then we got home and then everything got shut down. So we were one of those.
2 weeks after or a week after.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Shut down airports, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So at at the on-site, they will have an heirloom show and tell where people can bring an item or a photo, and there'll be experts to tell them about that item, like what time period it may have come from, what it was used for, things like that. And, you know, that's one great thing about being there in person is everyone is really generous with their information and their time and their willingness to help. My friend Anne and I were going down, I think it was like the second year, and the photo detective was going to be there. And that's a woman who's famous for being able to identify clothing in photos and date them and give you clues from them. And so we stopped at her dad's place on the way and picked up this old family photo that she had, or he had, and she's like, is it okay if I take it with me? And he's like, okay. And so there was one of a woman too, and we took that one too. And we got down there, and you had to sign up to have these consultations with the photo detective. And when she went to sign up, they were all gone. And so we were on the escalator, and she saw her, and she's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. And I'm like, man, no, because I'm very much, you know, hide in the corner, and Anne's really outgoing. And so Anne went over and talked to her, and she was just so nice, and she gave her some details about it, and you know, when the time period she thought it was from and why and so forth. And so she got some information from that. And then as we were walking through the expo hall, Family Search was there, and they had one of their huge scanners on display. And this thing's like the size of a pool table. And they were telling us about it, how they scan stuff. And Anne, again, who is outgoing, was like, you mean you could scan this photo? And he's like, well, yeah, if we had something to save it on. Well, we didn't have a USB at the time, but I had a video camera that had a camera card in it. And he's like, yeah, we can do it on that. So then they scanned these 2 huge photos for her and put them on my card. And the thing about the photos is they were in one of those oval frames with the rounded glass. And it's really hard to, you know, take a photo of those without getting glare. And it was perfect. And it was this nice, big, large file. And, you know, it was just so cool that they would do that for us. And then there was another man there who, Thomas McAtee, and you might have heard of him. He's pretty famous in the genealogy world. He was talking about building a blog, and she didn't have a death date for this ancestor, and she wasn't sure who the woman was. And so she decided, well, I'm gonna do a blog, and I'm gonna put that on there, because they said, you know, get your information out there, your mysteries out there. So she did. And the woman in the photo was his last wife, who was much younger than him, who had a daughter that was still alive. And her nephew saw the blog, saw the photo, and contacted Anne, and she was able to get the story of her ancestor.
Oh my goodness.
So, you know, that's kind of the excitement of RootsTech, is people collaborating together and sharing their information and their talents. And we can do a little bit of that virtually and here at the center. That's really one of the fun things about coming to the center, is just being able to discuss, this is where I'm at with it, with mine, and getting ideas off of each other and different ways to look at things. So, I encourage you at some point to go to RootsTech if you can, but virtual works really well too. So any questions on the class lists, and we'll do a little on relatives at RootsTech after that. You guys can go make your planner now, what classes you're going to take. And they,
like they started too late.
oh, no, you still got time.
Some people do their schedule that morning.
Yeah. Well, and you know, if you don't, that's the cool thing about so many classes. If you don't like something, you can just go to a new class or bring up a new class here. There's always something that you can do. And I usually tell my family, consider me gone for these 3 days. I'll be sitting on the couch, but you don't know me. Yeah. Let's see. So I'm gonna go to relatives at RootsTech. So if you're on Family Search, rootstech.org is the website for RootsTech.
RootsTech.com is for sale.
Oh, man, I should buy that. So on Family Search, if you put /connect, it'll take you here. And I'm already signed in. Is there anyone that hasn't done it that wants to sign in? Okay, Odette, you want to come sign in?
I haven't even signed up yet, so that was my chore today, so.
Oh, that was your chore today. Well, hey, perfect. That's a good thing to show. If you don't mind doing it in front of
No.
everyone. Okay, I will
doesn't
sign out
take
of
long.
mine. And then we'll have Odette sign in.
Sign in first too.
Yeah, sign into Family Search. And there should be an ad for it at Family Search. So click on that RootsTech thing. It looks like it has you on there.
Oh, I don't think I'd signed up.
Okay, so go ahead and do back arrow. And then where it says English, the EN, take that off and put in on the address bar. Put in connect. How to remember that.
Connect. There we go.
Hit enter. Oh, join event. And then you have to give it permission, the little box you have to, and if you want them to know what state you're in, you need to put that.
Save and
And then
continue.
save and connect.
I'm gonna have to make public
I would make,
for now.
yeah.
Okay.
So you have 12,868 relatives at RootsTech.
They're all coming to dinner.
Potluck, hopefully.
So we
So before you do view relatives, let's scroll down. It should tell you how many with your last name have signed in. So there's 35 people with the last name Brandt. I'm up to 7 with Deuce. And I know one of them's my daughter.
So how do
And then
we,
it tells you where from.
okay, so how would I know my maiden name though?
I think you would have to put your maiden name in. There's another spot to do that.
Okay.
Let's go to view relatives. Right there. So this is a list of all your relatives. You can search them by location.
Oh, I know this person. So this person is my maiden, is a relative of my maiden name.
So what it's doing is it's looking at your tree on Family Search
Okay.
and their trees on Family Search and saying they have a common ancestor. So the Brandt is just saying that so many people with that last name.
Oh,
have
okay,
signed up.
so that's not, they don't
And-
have to be
yeah,
relatives.
And it'll show you the first 300. It's going to organize it by your closest relative. So you have a first cousin and then you have a close relative. And that usually means that the connection is between living people. So like it has my daughter on there and she's a close relative. Good to know. It has my brother on there. He's close relative, but because I'm living and she's living, it doesn't give that information. And because my parents are both living, my brother and I, it just says we're close relatives. But if it can connect to a deceased relative, then it'll say first cousin once removed or something
So
like
if I
that.
hit my ancestor,
So yeah, you can, let's do location first. So you can search by location. So down here, there's a drop down arrow. And you can choose the country. If you choose United States, then you can choose which state. Leon always goes for Brazil first.
You had 15 in Australia.
yeah, I don't know where that comes from.
Well, and sometimes it's people that have moved there recently. And so it's a great way to connect to them.
I got 287 Idahoans.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
And some of them are fairly
you-
close.
Can you tell that I have
So-
5 generations in Idaho?
Yeah, your family's been here for a while.
This line here.
So let's click on Joel,
Okay.
do the drop down. So you can send him a message. You can see how you're related, or you can add him as a contact.
Okay.
So go ahead and click on relationship. And it has the little line going back so you can see the common ancestors. And then down on his side. And if someone in between those generations are living, it will say living and not give a name.
But only he is living in this case, right?
And Michael 41 is living.
That's-
Yeah,
that's
he's
me-
the
that's
person
me.
she connected.
That's
Oh.
me, actually. Because
Makes
that's
sense.
my password from like 20 years ago. And it never changed.
You can change it. if
I
you
know,
want.
but my maiden name is Michelson, and so that's why.
Yeah, and the other living person it will show is the person that you're checking the connection with.
Yeah, he's living.
Yeah, it'll always show that
But
living
his
person.
dad is dead.
So then we can back arrow. And you can choose your an ancestor. So click on by ancestor.
So this is just my grandfather, so I can look at that. Or
I
just
think we
these two
have-
people are.
I think we have him selected already. Go back to location and,
Oh,
no, that's a different one.
no, yeah, this is just my.
Okay, so
grandfather.
click the drop down by his name.
And I can go, so if I wanted to look at my great grandfather,
There's,
yeah, well, he only had 1 kid. so
Oh,
that's
there we
all.
go.
So,
You got Jacob Michelson, who has 71.
yeah, he had 27 kids, so.
So
So that's,
a little different.
yeah, 3 wives and 27 kids, yes.
Yeah, so those are all of your relations on that side.
Yeah,
Wow. I'm just thinking college tuition.
pretty sure.
So
that-
that's Steers family line.
Okay.
And again, you can do the drop down arrow.
Okay, so
So like the Mickelsons,
Michelson.
oh, sorry, Michelsons.
I'm gonna do the Norgran side.
Okay,
There we go.
those are all the ones in that line that come from that line.
There's 1,100.
Yeah, so you have a little scroll bar to the right that you can scroll down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so click this arrow to find our other options. Is search. It's not coming all the way over, but
But-
yeah. So you can search by attendees. Doesn't always work because sometimes they're Michelson 41 and not Odette Brandt.
That's right.
So if there's someone you think is on there. you
Oh,
can
yeah,
search.
so I can, but if like this, if I just.
So there's a couple with Michelson in their
Yeah.
username.
So yeah, I know this one's my first cousin, so
Cool.
I know her.
And then on the map, you can zoom in on the map to the different areas.
Of where they're at.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's really fun to play with. It's a great way to connect with people. Oh, you have a few Sweden, Taiwan, Uganda.
Yeah,
Okay.
where,
I have a question.
Sure.
Have you, because I have messaged individuals like in New Zealand and stuff. Have you ever gotten a response?
I haven't messaged a ton. Skip, my cousin Skip from Hawaii messages me every year. I've gotten responses. I've messaged a few and gotten responses, but I've messaged some and not gotten responses too.
Yeah, I probably was a little bit like in New Zealand, I said, hey, we're coming over. Can we come in and spend some time with you?
We stay for a month.
Heard back. She blocked you.
I just don't understand why they didn't respond back.
I'll sort of bring a treat.
Yeah.
Clean eyes, if it's time. That's really cool.
All right.
All right.
Can that also be used, like when you select a relative and it shows you how you're connected? And say, I don't have some of my tree built out that far for a fifth cousin. It looked like, man, I have all this information, if it's accurate, that I could sleuth out.
Yeah. Do you mind if I go to one of your people?
Oh, yeah.
So on the relationship thing, you can most definitely go and see, it'll give you, so this person passed away in 2007. If you inherited all your genealogy information from Aunt Levita, who died in 2000, she might not have this person's children on there. So you could easily find an obituary for someone who died in 2007, and that would tell you who all the children are. And if you click on it, it should give you the ID number. So then you can check sources for the people that are on there and go to their place. Now, because it's one world tree, you're connected to them. But if you want to add this information to your Ancestry account, then you could do that. You could say, oh, I don't have that connection in Ancestry. And so you could then add that to your Ancestry account. And I like that idea so much that I took a whole bunch of pictures from last RootsTech, where I just go through, oh, that's how we're related. Click the picture on my phone. So then I have like 100 of those pictures that I need to go through and make sure I have them in the tree and I have that connection, because this will last until the 31st of March. And then you won't see these connections anymore. It's kind of a limited time thing. And so, so yeah, it's good to get on there and look at it now and make those connections while they're there. Then one more thing I wanted to cover. Do we have any other questions on that? Oh, where messages are. So on your family search account, when you're signed in, this little, what do they call it? A word blurb. Yeah. Dialogue box is where your messages are. And so if someone is going to message you back, it's going to show up there. You just click on it, and I don't want to read your messages, so I didn't click on it. Nothing too exciting there.
Yeah.
Then I'll go ahead and click on it. So they're usually, they're divided into groups. Mine, it's divided into discussions and different things, but that's where you would find your messages from them. So back at RootsTech, so I really like saying I'm going to be there in person and using that planner to select my classes. I would recommend that. When you sign on or create an account for that, it asks if you would like your information shared with exhibitors at the thing. So essentially, do you want to get some junk email? But you know, they're all genealogy. So is it really junk email? And you can go to the exhibitors and you can choose which ones you want to add to your planner. And in my mind, I'm thinking that's who they share it with. I didn't read it that closely when I clicked share. But so when you go to click it, read and see if it says the ones you choose or if it's all of them. Because me, I don't care if they all get my email. I'd love to hear about more genealogy stuff. But you can also add them to your planner and just go through and see which ones you want to visit there. When you click on one of them, it'll kind of tell you what the company is. and it has a link to their website, information about where they are. Oh, this one is an artist. Talks about his studio. And then these are the keywords. So historical people, historical places, because you can search by those. Those are my screaming goats. I'll tell you the screaming goat story after class. Anyway, so it's cool to kind of go through there and see which things are new. Let me go back. Threw me for a loop. Okay. So then the other thing I wanted to show you is RootsTech has a channel on YouTube. The first 7 videos are all of their leading up to, they call it Road to RootsTech, all the things that are going to be happening and so forth. And then you see all of these upcoming ones. Those are all of the live webinars. So if you just wanted to keep it on this channel, you could, and select them as you go. Now, when you click on it right now, it'll just say live in 2 days. I still probably am going to go through the planner so that I have the handout right there. I'm not seeing, I'm not seeing a link for a handout on this. So I would, like I said, I'd probably go through and make my schedule so I know which one I want to see during that time frame and join from there. Any questions? I can't imagine there isn't at least 3 classes that you guys want to see. So go through and see what sounds exciting to you. You know, if you're interested in German research, you can search the classes by put in German for the topic and see what you can find. But I hope you all have fun. I can't wait to hear what you learned when it's all done. Thanks for coming to class today. Gonna stop my recording.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you doing?